Good morning, everyone. Back here on a Friday, 14 minutes past the hour.
Yeah, and there's a storm brewing in western Alaska. Joe, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so first of all, it started off as a major typhoon out across the western Pacific, and it continued to intensify as it moved up toward the Aleutians, and now it's undergone what we call extratropical transition as it has lost its warm core status, meaning that the temperature when you fly through the storm, it's the temperature at the center of the storm is warm, and it's also where we see the strongest winds right around the center of circulation as we get the eye and all that kind of stuff. Now, as it transitions into just a regular mid-latitude or north latitude storm system, we see the temperature changing. We start to see cooler air coming in on one side versus warmer air on the other side. And then also that wind field expands as we see the difference between low pressure and high pressure farther away. It's that wind, it's that change in wind that really is driving a lot of the dynamics with this storm system. So we are going to see areas of heavy rain starting to make its way onshore. We're already seeing that across southwest Alaska right now, King Salmon, Dillingham. That'll eventually be moving northward into Nome, eventually into Kotzebue, and also farther north across the northwest Arctic coast. Our major impacts, though, are by far going to be with winds, potentially sustained 45 to 65 miles an hour. That's sustained. Additional wind gusts of 85, perhaps 90 miles an hour as we work our way from St. Paul, perhaps even up toward the Nome area as well. In addition to that, that area of low pressure, very intense, so it brings up the ocean and the levels of the ocean. So those waves are going to be high. And as that storm system continues to move in, those waves are going to be crashing. So we're going to be looking at storm surge as well as waves, crashing waves on top of that, perhaps as high as 30 to 50 feet. You're not sure necessarily onshore, but definitely out in the middle of the Bering. And that storm surge, that push of water moving onshore is going to be anywhere from 4 to 18 feet. So coastal erosion, coastal flooding, definitely on the minds of a lot of folks there out into the west. You can see this is what's left, satellite view showing what was the center of circulation right here. As we expand on out, we'll show all the warnings. Here's our hurricane wind warning for much of the central and southern Bering. Wind gusts as high as 85 to 90 miles an hour. Areas in green from Bethel right on up through Nome, the Seward Peninsula, I think is really going to take a beating from this storm, unfortunately. That's where we have a coastal flood warning as well as a high wind warning for, again, those wind gusts occasionally maybe as high as 80 to 90 miles an hour over the next 24 hours. Over the past 24 hours, here's what we've seen. Adak at 62-mile-an-hour wind gusts in the low to mid-50s from False Pass through Akitan, and that wind field will continue to push strong gusty winds up towards St. George, eventually on up into Nome or Bethel and Nome and Kotzebue as well as over the next 24 to 36 hours. In addition to the wind, it's a very heavy rain all the way from Bethel through Nome throughout the entire Seward Peninsula up toward Kotzebue as well. Several inches of rain could also be possible. So stormy for the western half of the state today, and then we'll look for quiet conditions across the central and the eastern interior, 60 degrees, a nice day in Fairbanks despite increasing clouds as well as down there across Ketchikan, Petersburg. Morning rain comes to an end around Yakutat and Juneau. We'll see rain on the increase again from Dillingham through Kodak, eventually reaching Anchorage here by the second half of the evening, and that rain will continue through the overnight hours on in through Saturday morning, and then we'll dry out Saturday afternoon with more in the way of sunshine for during the day on Sunday. Meanwhile, the main impacts from that storm will be moving up through Nome and on into Kotzebue for Saturday on in through Sunday as well. 7-day forecast back here into South Central, looking at that beautiful day on Sunday with temperatures into the mid-50s. Enjoy it because clouds thicken up on Monday before more rain arrives here Tuesday and Wednesday. Sun will rise just before 7:30 this morning, 7:29 to be exact, set at 8:17, 12 hours and 48 minutes of daylight today in Anchorage. Ladies?
All right, thanks, Joe.
Yep.